Here's what's great about AI, and I think this is a lot of people, you either get it or you don't, and you're going to hear it here first, right? You want to get it good at AI, you got to be good at watching YouTube videos. And I know that sounds crazy, but
freight doesn't move in silos, and neither should the conversation. Welcome to The Freight Table, a monthly podcast from the Intermodal Association of North America, connecting data, government affairs, and voices from across the intermodal supply chain. This is your pulse on what's changing now and what to watch next, where intermodal comes together.
A good afternoon from day three of IANA's Intermodal Business Meeting.
Yeah.
And I am so pleased to be sitting here with you, Curtis Pogue.
Thank you, David.
You're relatively new. You're old, but you're new to the IANA.
No, wait a minute.
And that's what I mean. You're old in that you've been, I'll let you tell the backstory.
Sure.
You've been around IANA for a long time, but now you're back in person.
Yeah.
With us again.
Active.
It's great and active. And you most recently have contributed to this AI project that has been underway.
Yep.
And you've been a subject matter expert. And so we're going to today focus, even though we have so much more we could focus on, and we will focus on in future episodes. But today I want to focus on why you're engaged with IANA. What brought you to the table as a subject matter expert around AI and intermodal?
Sure. It's a good question, right? Why are you a subject matter expert?
Why?
I think that's an important question.
And how does one become one?
Oh, gosh. Well, first off, somebody has to reach out to you.
Somebody has to tell you you're one, right?
Yeah,
you can't just say you're one.
You can't. Yeah, you can't be self-titled. That's not a thing. Sure. So from a background standpoint, my education is in logistics and supply chain management. So first and foremost, right, I got my start in data analytics and really cut my teeth in the industry from an operator standpoint. I spent most of my career in the transportation side, but then also being brought in as an SME on the transportation side in warehouse optimization, right? To be able to, outside of the four walls, what can happen inside of the four walls that impact what's happening outside of the four walls from an optimization bottleneck constraint standpoint. So
very important.
Yeah, very important. Very important. So then that paired with AI standpoint, right, this is a rapidly changing, it's every day is something new.
The presentation just happened an hour ago, and I'm sure that things are already outdated.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So here's what's great about AI, and I think this is a lot of people, you either get it or you don't, and you're going to hear it here first, right? You want to get it good at AI, you got to be good at watching YouTube videos. And I know that sounds crazy, but
I've just picked up the habit of going to YouTube to watch videos, and I have watched, I've watched world events from 30 years ago.
Yes.
So I didn't even know I could watch again.
Yes.
So anyway, I digress for another conversation.
Yeah, for another conversation.
YouTube's amazing.
It is. You can learn how to do anything. Just the other day, how do I refill my pool table? It's incredibly easy. I just watched a YouTube video.
Wow.
10 minutes later,
you have a new felt on your pool table.
Yes.
And so you're hitting that 8-ball in the corner pocket.
Yeah. So, that's a very low-hanging fruit example, but
important though, gives relevance to understand.
Absolutely. So from an SME standpoint, in this particular paper, it really was looking at from the journey of an intermodal container, right? We really took kind of a slice, a segment. And in that, there was a transportation-related function. So my role in that piece was to be able to look at, right, validate, does this make sense, right? Is the AI being able to be applied in a way that organizations can actually utilize? And that's really, this journey is the beginning of that. And
it's chapter one.
It's chapter one. This is we were just in the presentation, and resounding feedback was how.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly understand the why, and at the end of the day, it's every organization is in business to make a profit, and this is the unlock for increased efficiency, reducing costs, and being able to, in my own belief, be able to start to help tear down some of the siloed approaches of individual P&Ls and really start to look at the industry as a whole, right? And it's, I went to school a long time ago. I didn't have any grades. I still don't have a lot, but that was the principles of supply chain management is to be able to have control and visibility and be able to have communication across the supply chain. And it's been and it still is today, the most challenging piece of an effective supply chain.
I would agree completely.
So,
or to be able to communicate in the same language, I would say.
Same language.
Because that's even, I think the communication is probably improved, but they have not yet come to the agreement of the language that they're all speaking.
Standardize the language.
And I mean, that's like the big, and going back to what is AI all about, Chris always says, bad data in, bad results out.
Sure.
And so, that's just an interesting thing, because if we can't agree to standards, how can we maximize something that is revolutionary, right? That we've never seen before, that has the power to do what you just shared. But how do we get to that point? But anyway, we digress.
Well,
my apologies.
And that's, and then the AI piece, right? The AI piece is so important, right? For me, the two principles that I've always existed in, and there's a lot, but visibility and control, and not to sound like a broken record, right? And you hear those terms thrown around loosely, but my career has been built on those two principles. And so as we move into the AI piece, we start to be able to have something so much greater than a single individual or team. Because it's just, it has the ability to do things that we've never been able to do before. And so as we get visibility, as we get the data, right? Because that's all visibility is. Data is visibility, right? And you can, there's a lot of applications there and a lot of definitions there. But once we have the visibility, now we can make decisions, right? That's the control piece. We want to make decisions that are impact the bottom line. Because again, only in business for one reason, right? Profitability. There's a lot of organizations.
I did get an MBA. I know that.
A lot of organizations are out there, and it's for the good of things. And that's great.
But you still have to pay the bills and have the lights on.
That's exactly right. So really, right. This was to start to step into and especially as IANA's role in the industry is education.
Yes,
right? It's
absolutely.
Education.
It is. And that's it. Is just, I think that one of the most important things that you and Chris and the other SMEs brought to the table was the understanding that this was not a commercial venture.
Right.
This is an educational.
Absolutely.
We have to help people understand the framework for them to then take back to their organizations to say, this is how we can take AI and plug ourselves in to be more efficient. And maximize our efficiencies for our clients and our BCOs, but also, let's see how we can be more profitable in the long run as well. And I think that is what IANA is all about. It's bringing solutions and frameworks to be to the table to advance the industry as a whole, but also then allow the businesses within IANA to go out and kind of make that happen. And I think AI is the instance where every mode actually benefits.
Yes.
I mean, if you think about it, there's always been technological advances in the mode, in the silos.
Sure.
But we've never seen anything that actually asks and requires, in a lot of ways, I think, a higher level of thinking about the supply chain. Because I think everyone gets so siloed about, the box is in my possession for this period of time. But I think to your point you made earlier is that, you've really got to lift your eyes up and you have to understand the whole journey. Sure. Versus just your component of it, because AI forces the efficiencies out of every segment.
Well, and then everybody benefits.
And every benefits. Because more freight gets moved. BCO's happier. Everyone, everything's cleaner. Like
all ships rise and a rising tide.
Exactly. And in this with AI, it is truly the transparency.
Yes.
And the use of data, because data does, the hard data doesn't really lie. It tells you a story,
right,
and you can't necessarily refute the story.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah. It's agnostic.
Yeah, it's agnostic.
And I think that's just a really exciting and challenging for a lot of businesses.
Sure. Well, and there's a lot of risk involved right now too, right? So I think it's important, and I have conversations with people about this frequently in regards to we're reaching a place with AI where there's a little bit of, and I don't want to say pushback, but right, we've all heard of the hallucination effect, right? Like it's not perfect. And then my initial response to that is, well, how are you using it? Mm-hmm. Right? Because I don't use chat, right? I have a terminal, right? I create a file directory system with markdown files that are referenced every single time. I'm creating guidelines. And then that is the way to use it, again, at a surface level, right? That's beyond chat. If I want to do an email, I'll use chat. And so it's not a perfect system, but I think what's really important, and one of the things that I communicate to my customers is it's not so much about there's a perfect solution today. It's about putting in the framework today for the solution that's going to happen tomorrow. Because I just saw a quote not too long ago that was, if you don't feel like you're a year ahead using AI, then you're 2 years behind. Mm. And I thought that was from the CEO of Century Supply Chains, who they've adopted AI really early on, and they are creating competitive advantage. And that is a very strong position, right?
And I mean that is truly. I mean, I was at Manifest, and it was the head of Flexport was on stage, and he was saying next year at this time, half of these companies won't be here.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a haves and a have-nots. And I was like, that's a really bold statement.
Yes.
But he said it like firmly and publicly. Yes. And I think he said it more than once.
Yeah. And I agree with him.
And to me, that's mind-boggling, because the sheer number of companies who are involved in the supply chain, who touch the box, it is large. And it's just to think about that there's one technology that is going to set everyone apart.
Yes.
And everyone has an equal opportunity to use it.
Yes.
It's not necessarily an economic issue.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. It's a willingness to not just do the routine. It's to kind of elevate, to allow yourself to think bigger than yourself.
Ooh, and that's huge. Okay.
It is.
It's huge. I was talking to some students not long ago. One of them came up and said, hey, I'm very entrepreneur in spirit, and based on your experience, and I'm always floored by this, right? Because
based on my experience,
I know, it's so silly, but
it's the gray hair.
I think so. So he said, you have any ideas or suggestions? Like, what should I focus on? And my response was a human response, and it was, focus on the human connection. Mm-hmm. Focus on if you want to start a business in this space, focus on how to connect humans to humans, right? Know your partner. I believe we just heard.
Yes,
right?
We did. Very important.
And so then you brought up a really good point that I think we need to have in the conversation more, and that AI is a mindset. And it's a mindset of like-minded individuals who can create strategic partnerships to be able to influence the industry as a whole, so that everybody who's involved in that supply chain benefits. Yeah. And I mean, benefits.
And benefits, by that I mean they have they have the ability to work their business to its maximum potential.
Yeah.
Whatever size they may be, at whatever capacity they may be able to.
Absolutely.
But I think that's, and that, again, it goes back to, it's not a new truck. It's not a new container. It's not a new chassis.
Nope.
It is this very nebulous.
Show me an optimized system.
Yeah.
There's not one.
Yeah.
Right. Follow it. Follow the container.
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah.
And we have a very fixed infrastructure.
Yes.
right?
There are some things that can only be maximized so much.
Sure. Absolutely.
But I also think that there's opportunities, as you said earlier, on both ends, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone has the container first finite period, but it's that interchange where things get mucked up.
Well,
not mucked up.
Are you familiar with just the theory of bottleneck constraint?
Yes.
Right. I mean, you have a whatever it is, and
you can
when we look at throughput, right? The bottleneck is you cannot exceed the bottleneck. And so, we have to upstream and downstream be able to optimize.
And it really reinforces that whole concept of a chain. I always, the great thing about IANA is, we saw during the pandemic period that, people were making decisions on their own. Each mode was, the ports were saying, we can open 24/7.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And good for you. And thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
God bless your heart.
Doesn't change things.
It doesn't change a thing because there's no, the motor carriers can't pick up a box and take it somewhere because the facilities aren't. And it's like, really, I'm like, I know you feel this need to do something, but you didn't consult with any of your partners.
Yeah.
And you didn't think about what's upstream from where you are. You were just concerned about the public relations that says, I can't be closed because all these ships are up.
Yeah.
But you didn't think about, what do I do with it once I get it off the ship? And it's like, that's an, that is, again, how does AI is the, I don't want to say the tool, but it is the mechanism through which personal relationships and the personal conversations and the personal oversight become even more important. We don't really lose it in AI. We have to increase it because we have to have somebody who's watching the whole thing.
Well, and you bring up a really good point too about the reason we're sitting here right now. Right? Of those who are IANA members, right? The BCOs, the seat at the table, right? Of what's going on. We just heard some really interesting policy initiatives. Yeah. Right? And so being able to be part of the conversation, I think that is hands down in the last 3 days, right? That is the benefit.
And I don't think there's been a more important time for anyone involved in the intermodal supply chain to be at the table, right? Because they've got to take a hard look at what they're doing and understand that the fundamental underlying way they have done and built their business is not going to be the way it's going to be moving forward.
Look, I find it interesting, and I'm sure there's a lot of professors out there that you take the snapshot of a time. And the image in my head is when we look at like the graph of time of man, right, throughout all the existence, and it just kind of goes like this, goes in as a scallop right here, right, and it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and whoop, I would argue, right, let's start this at like Malcolm McLean, right? Yep. Globalization.
Happy anniversary. Just 60th anniversary.
Something like that. Yeah, 60.
Just like
60. We can edit it. 60.
60. I think it was 60.
No, 60. 70.
It was 60.
60. Yeah. 70. 60. So, right.
Like, AI. Will you fact check us?
That's right. Right. The standardized container. Yeah. And I think business as usual for the last 40 years or so. And then here we are. Right? Yeah. Here we are. Right? This is what's about to happen.
Yeah. And you had a supply chain that was built on very specific kind of, it developed, wild west in some ways. Yeah. And, IANA coming into existence because of a lot of that wild west mentality.
Sure.
And trying to bring some more fluidity to the system and consistency.
Yeah.
And then, you're absolutely right. I mean, but now it's like a rocket.
It's like a rocket.
And the thing that I think that people lose in all this conversation, or another component is that, the amount of freight moving is not going to decrease.
No. Well, the amount of people are not decreasing.
Exactly. And we all like stuff.
Yeah. We all like stuff. I'm working to try and get away from that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all, don't even get me started on that. But it is, and I mean, it's an interesting, you have to remember that, this is not, I think this is another factor is when we talk about businesses having to adapt to a new reality is that it's not so much that it's truly going to be because they have not maximized their part of the supply chain. Therefore, partners don't want to work with them.
Yeah,
it is truly because of that, not because of their that they don't have the ability to do the job. It's the ability that they're not participating to the maximum to maximize their part of the supply chain for their customers.
Do you want to be a dinosaur or a human?
I mean,
because dinosaurs go extinct.
Well, they do, and plus they have those little arms, and it's really, really hard to do anything with these pterodactyl arms.
Well, I mean, then that's it, right? Like,
no, I mean, it's just, and I feel really bad because I've tortured all of my friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like a broken record because it was with the pandemic. I was like, you don't understand supply chain. You got it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, AI, you don't understand.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes.
But it is, I am so excited about the work that IANA is doing. I'm so excited about the people who have come to the table to help IANA do this. Yourself very much.
Thank you very much.
And it's just this really exciting time that we haven't experienced before. And I think that is the most challenging, is that I think some people want to downplay it, and I think they do it at their own risk.
Sure.
I think that there are other people who may hype it up a bit too much.
And they do that at their own risk.
And they do that at their own risk, where, we are going to be reduced to, eating bonbons and, having all this free time in the world because AI is going to do everything. So, I do think, but as I know you've said, and I think Chris has said, there has to be this engagement. There has to be this personal touch. That's still the most important part. And if there's one thing that Intermodal is good at, it's a personal touch.
Yeah.
Because it's all based on relationships and trust.
And trust. Yeah, trust is everything, right? Oh, that's why we have the personal relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the reason.
It is. It is. I trust you with my, I trust you. You're a good person.
Yeah.
I don't, So where do you think we're going? What do you think is next?
Oh, goodness. I mean, IANA as an organization, the industry as a whole.
All of the above.
Whew. I mean,
where are you?
How far out do you want to go?
Any good vacations planned?
Yeah. I mean, it's Alaska, Mexico every year.
Oh, every year.
Every year. I've retired twice, and I keep getting sucked back in. Well, there's two things, right? One, I realized I need more money because I like buying things. And then two, I can't, I'll never retire. Back when I was in my early 20s, I worked at Central. We had my office. I ran the warehouse, and my office window overlooked the dock, and it had one of the open air docks. And we had this guy named Frank Losak. This guy was, at the time, he was 87 years old when I first started working there, and he was full speed, right? Full speed on that forklift everywhere he went. And
how was his eyesight?
Good.
Okay.
It was good.
Just checking.
I don't know. We didn't give him a test, but
he knew his way around the warehouse.
So Frank Losak, he was full speed everywhere on this forklift. And I just knew I was going to look out, and Frank was going to come out of the warehouse and then just drive off the end of the dock. And that would be the end of Frank Losak, right?
That would be, yes.
And dear God, hope nobody's in the way. And so I went to the CEO and I'm like, hey, what's up with Frank Losak, right? Like, why
are you letting him risk his life every day?
And he said, well, he's been here for 50 years. So unless you're going to go out there and tell him he can't be here, I decided not to take that challenge.
Yeah.
So
now you're waiting for someone to tell you that.
The very first thing I did was I walked out. I walked out on the docks and Frank, what are you doing here? And he told me some really very powerful piece of advice, effectively became a piece of advice, was that this keeps me alive.
Mm.
So this keeps me alive. This is when I wake up in the morning, this is what makes my feet hit the ground. And I was just like, wow. And then in a Frank fashion, then as he's walking away, under his breath, I hear him say, because you guys can't do it without me. But the thing I took away,
Let's just downplay that a little bit.
yeah,
Not that I don't say that under my breath.
the
says
takeaway.
Curtis.
No. Oh my gosh, no. Goodness, no. That was a Franklin-esque thing, but the thing I definitely picked up was that just, it's part of my existence is to be part of something. And so this is just where I've planted my flag, is the logistics and supply chain space.
Well, on behalf of IANA, I can't say thank you for planting your flag with us.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to continue this conversation.
Yeah. Well, there's a fun story there, right?
Always.
Yeah. I mean, the connection. The
connection is rich.
Very deep.
It's very rich.
Very
and it's
rich.
very special.
Very special.
And we will tell you.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Future episode.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Yeah.
Curtis, you're a gem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.